going to kick things off. The racetrack is checking in at 116 degrees on the cooled area. I have a spy that is one of the track specialists down there. Tells me that it's been fluctuating 16, 18 degrees cooler. So that means without the cooling system, we'd be dealing with a racetrack temperature closer to 135. And if you're tuning a nitro car, you really, really like the cooler racetrack. Really, really like. We have 17 funny cars that are entered here this weekend, but not all of them are going to be running here in the first qualifying session. And the reason for that is simple. It costs a lot of money to run these cars. If you're not a full-time touring pro car with a big, huge budget, oftentimes the teams will sit out a session here or there, try to save some money. If you're looking at the weather and you're going, it's going to be a whole lot nicer tonight than it is this afternoon, let's sit this one out. Come back and try it again later tonight. The Snap-on Dodge, driven by two-time world champion Cruz Pedregon. Well, that run wasn't nearly as much fun as Cruz was hoping. The clock stops down there at 11:19, 11.19 seconds, 77 miles an hour, and he was on the throttle for, what, half a second? That thing just blew the tires off, and I got to believe there was some kind of a malfunction. I mean, if you miss it, that's one thing. But when something like that happens, my first thought is always, something in the clutch system that malfunctioned and just gave it way too much power way too soon. The nitro cars have to make abundant changes coming up here, just like any other category of car does. But one thing that the nitro cars can't change are things like transmission and gear ratios. Because, well, A, they don't have a transmission. And they are mandated to a 320.32 or 3.20 rear gear. But they do make big engines in the power, big changes in the engine combination, trying to find the power level. And then they try to adjust the clutch accordingly. These cars will slide the clutch for the first, 2.5 to 3 seconds of the run. And it really looked to me like on Cruz's car, it just locked the clutch up in a step. Sean Langdon, Tim Wilkerson. Langdon, who had a solid weekend at our last stop on the tour in Epping, New Hampshire a couple of weeks ago, making it all the way to the final round before he got paganed. Global Electronic Technologies. Steve and Samantha Bryson's company and the main sponsor of that Wix, Redline Toyota, fielded by Coletta Motorsports. There's an interview with co-crew chief Dale Worsham on NHRA.com right now. Louis Bloom sat down with him at the Wally Park Studios and had a chat with him about tuning cars, about driving cars, about his long history in the sport. If you got a couple of minutes, you might want to check it out. And Tim Wilkerson out of Springfield, Illinois for Levi Ray & Shout. It's always a big weekend for LRS. I haven't heard yet, but I'm guessing that Dick Levi will be here probably tomorrow. Wilkerson, the new Mustang-bodied machine. And Sean Langdon in the Toyota. Tim Wilkerson goes red, but that doesn't hurt you in qualifying. And then he pulled the tires loose out there just before the 3:30 mark. Sean made it a little bit further down the racetrack. Sean ends up going 4.555 at 191 miles an hour. Tim goes 4.549 at 130.5 miles an hour. But you could see down there, the tune-up looked like the crew chiefs were getting pretty aggressive on the early part of the racetrack. trying to get all they could while they were on the cooled part of the racetrack. And then, well, you get out there on the hot asphalt, and it just takes an adjustment. Next pair pulling up into place. And, oh, man, before we get to that, boy, have we got a pair down on the starting line.
So true, Alan Reinhardt. Hey, everybody, what's going on? I'm Joe Costello. This is Jason Logan. And I know you guys are having a great time out here on Thunder Mountain. But more importantly, this race gets better and better every year. So why not renew your seats for next year here today at the Ticket Center?
I mean, why? You're going to come back anyways next year, right?
Yes.
I mean, you're all fans. You've been coming ever since we opened the doors of this place. The Bandemiers run a fantastic facility. Why would you just not get them? Exactly, Joe. Tell them the deals and why they should get them
Well,
today.
Exactly. We're going to sweeten the deal a whole lot. You can get your exact seat, the one you've got right now, for just 10% of the cost of the ticket if you renew today. What do? You avoid the fees.
Yes.
To save the money.
Right.
You get your exact same seat. What is better than that?
Yeah, because you love that seat, especially you guys over here on the left side of the lane, the One Cure side of the track. You guys pick those seats. They're great seats up there, Joe. I don't know if you've ever sat and watched around or anything up those seats.
I'm always
awesome.
working, but I can imagine it would be great. But in addition to locking in your seat for just 10% of the cost, you can be here next year. You avoid all the fees. This guy, you're always asked for free T-shirts.
Everybody says, Jason, give me a free T-shirt, Well, this is your chance. Everybody here
that renews your
at
seats
Bandemere Speedway who renews their seats gets this awesome T-shirt.
That's unbelievable.
Now, look, this is like a one-of-a-kind. We're not just giving these out for everybody. I don't shoot these bad boys out, all right? I shoot mellow yellow ones. This thing is awesome. I mean, this is a Speed for All NHRA shirt. Everybody who renews their seats will get one of these shirts today, Joe.
We're getting really good at this.
Yeah.
The National Hot Rod Association knows we want to lock you in for next year. 10% down. Avoid the fees. Do it today at the Ticket Center and get that free T-shirt.
And guess what, Joe? If you ask me, hey, Jason, can I get a free T-shirt or where's my T-shirt? I'll say, hey, go to the Ticket Center and renew your tickets, Joe.
The main ticket, of course, main ticket center right behind the East Grandstands when you come in, and you can get that handled either tonight on your way out or tomorrow on your way in. 10% down, and you are locked in. I like it. Speaking of liking it, what do you think of Matt Hagan's new car? You talk about wanting to make a splash here at the Dodge Mile High Nationals, powered by Pennzoil. They're doing it with the new Charger Hellcat wide body. They had this car on display. I thought it was interesting last night down at the block party in Golden, Colorado, that they actually had the race car on display. A lot of times teams will take a show car, but Hagan's guys wanted to bring the actual article out there for the fans to get a close look at. Bob Taska over here on the right side for PPG. And Bob Taska, well, let me just put it like this. His stock has certainly gone up over the course of the last month and a half. Taska with a very abbreviated burnout. Hagan's car goes into the old front end wobble down there at the end of the burnout. You might have noticed the front wheels kind of just shimmying back and forth down there. That is relatively common in these cars. And the reason they do that is because the front end geometry is designed to go straight really, really fast. There's a ton of caster built into these things. And every once in a while, it'll just get into kind of an oddball harmonic out there in the middle of the racetrack. It's no big deal. You just get the car stopped, get it back in the middle of the groove, and it should be ready to go straight. So Bob Taska, the factory Ford, up here on Thunder Mountain. You know what his goal is, right? And Matt Hagan. And this has never been one of Matt Hagan's favorite racetracks. He loves the track, loves the family look, but he's never had much racing luck here. If there was going to be a time to turn that around, it'd be when you're flying that brand new wide-body Hellcat Charger. Hey, your whole weekend starts with qualifying session number 1. Give me a good clean pass, something I can build on later on tonight. Hagan had a cylinder go out down there at about 500 feet, and then it went silent. 432, 232 miles an hour. Taska was off the gas before that at 544 and 134 miles an hour. So Matt Hagan's go to the top spot. Those of you over on the pit side, you can see that fuel coming out of the pipe. We're going to watch this again on replay. Should be able to see it from this angle. Watch Hagan on the right side of the screen. You're going to see Taska's mount right there. It's got a cylinder out, and he shuts off. And Hagan, you can see it just before he shut it off, that raw fuel coming out of the pipes. For those of you who might not be real familiar with NHRA, the drop cylinder phenomenon has been around for a long time. They run such an incredible volume of fuel through these things that sometimes it just simply drowns out the spark plugs. And when you see that happen, that's when you'll see the raw fuel coming out of one of those pipes. Just for reference, okay? Whatever mileage your car gets, if you think it's great, that's great. If you think it's awful, let me give you something to think about. You see the first orange block sitting out there on the racetrack? That is 330 feet from the starting line. A football field, basically. 330 feet. By the time a funny car gets there, and I'm talking about from the time the light, JR, I was talking, okay? Don't do burnouts when I'm talking. From the time, Jack, I just scolded JR and you did the same thing. From the time the light flashes green until the time a funny car goes to that 330-foot block, 2 gallons of fuel. Gallons. J.R. Todd is the champ. Last year, had a great run through the countdown to the championship, and the number 1 goes on the side of that DHL Redline Toyota. For the first time in JR's career, but not the first time in the DHL Toyota's career. Remember, Del Worsham driving that car, won the championship a couple of years ago. And Jack Beckman driving his Infinite Hero die out of the Don Schumacher Racing stable. He's part of Team Hellcat. Wow, Beckman's car went instantly left when he hit the gas, and JR's car took the tire loose way before he got to the end of the cooled off part. Both of those are kind of a throwaway run. JR goes 6:31. Jack goes 7:38. But they're both going to be wishing that they had another crack at it. They will later on tonight. But that's definitely not the run they were looking for. Joe Costello.
Well, we're down here with co-crew chief Todd Smith. These are the reigning Mellow Yellow world champs. Very difficult conditions. I know the track's got the cooling system and all, but this is Q1. It's tough. You took a guess. Didn't work out. Tell me about it.
Yeah, it's tough for everybody right now. You know, there's not a lot of rubber out there. Track prep is very good, but we just got to get some more cars up and down the track, and I think it'll get better for everybody.
Q2 coming up later. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just a reminder, Q2 tonight is going to be our NHRA prime time. We're going to have a little fun out there with the drivers, live DJ down on the starting line as well. And at the end of the night, I don't want to give away, but the last 2 cars down the racetrack are going to be jet cars. And there may be an even a little extra fire lighting up the mountain here after the jet cars. So you certainly don't want to be sneaking out of here early. If tonight's weather turns out like last night's weather was down in Golden for the block party, it's going to be a beautiful thing. The Make-A-Wish car's up next before they fire it. I want to make sure everybody's aware. Make-A-Wish is not spending money on this race car. If you support the Make-A-Wish Foundation, please don't ever believe that your donations are being spent to go drag racing. A lady by the name of Terry Chandler put together the program to put this car as well as the Infinite Hero car out on the racetrack. Completely independently funded. And even though we lost Terry a couple of years ago, her family is carrying on their tradition. But if you support either one of those great charities, they were known as the giving cars. And your donations are going exactly where they're supposed to go. Let's check in with Joe Costello. Oh, you talk about a VIP down on the starting line. Joe's hanging out with a really VIP. Way more VIPer than Jason was.
So true, so true. But I thought you meant me, Alan. Here with Leah Pritchett, won this race a year ago in the 1320 Top Fuel Dragster. Trying to go back-to-back. This race is special for you.
Oh, it's absolutely special. It's for one, we're back on track. I want to thank all the fans for coming out. You guys are packed in the stands. This is awesome. But to go back-to-back here, we've been to 2 finals in the last 2 years. But right now, we're really focused on Q1. Getting our Angry Bee, buzzing on down there, making some power, some consistent runs. I'm excited to get back in the seat up here watching my DSR teammates. Track looks phenomenal. Looks like we're going to have a really good time.
Good luck to you this weekend. And speaking of your DSR teammates, Hannah's got one on the top end.
I sure do, with Matt Hagan, who came out of the car shaking his head. What What did you experience on that run, and what did you learn that you'll use in Q2?
Yeah, basically on the burnout there, it the steering A-arms kind of got, I guess they're over-greased a little bit, and it rips the steering out of my hand. So backing up, you're trying to, feel the car and see if the steering's still working and everything else. And so you're trying to, crew chief, he's like, get back here, hurry up. And you're still trying to figure out, whether I can steer this thing left or right. And then you're making the run, you're thinking about, is everything tight now? But even on the shutdown, it ripped the steering wheel out of my hands again. So it's that's a little bit of an eerie feeling. You're shutting this thing down and you can't even steer it. So anyway, we'll get it fixed, and I guess that's why we drive them. It gives us a little blood pump out there, but we'll get it going and get ready for Q2.
The Napa Auto Parts, Pennzoil Dodge, driven by Ron Capps, and the aforementioned Make-A-Wish Dodge, driven by Tommy Johnson. Ron Capps, Ron Tobler, and the Napa team. Championship a couple of years ago. Solid first part of the season. As they come in here sitting in the number 4 spot in points. And one spot in front of that is Tommy Johnson. At a racetrack that has been very, very good to him over the years. He's actually racing the final here in 4 different categories of competition. His first Nitro finalist here. Of course, that probably has to seem like a lifetime ago. 2 of the Don Schumacher Dodges easing their way up in. Matt Hagan in his DSR Dodge sitting number 1. Wow, and again, before they even got to the end of the cooled part, Tommy's car was smoking him very early. Ron goes 524 at 141. Tommy goes 723 at 89 miles an hour. And I guarantee you, every crew chief walking off the start line right now, as we take another look at that in the NHRA replay, is thinking, can we just fast forward to tonight? Because everybody knows it's going to be better out there. And get that sun to dip down behind that big hill over there. Mountain, okay, big mountain over there. And the racetrack is going to get better for everybody. It's just so difficult when you come to a place when conditions are this different. And nobody really has a very good book on it. You come in here the first qualifying session, take your best guess, and then at least you've got something to work with. Our final pair with dragsters rolling out momentarily. It's going to be John Force, and it's going to be Robert Hight. Try this on for size. Robert Hight in the Auto Club Chevrolet comes in leading the points. John Force comes in number 2. And I know what you're thinking. So, well, here's the interesting part. John Force on the season has yet to win a race. Matter of fact, his last win was at this race a year ago. Robert Hight on the season, 4 wins. So the peak, Motor Oil and Antifreeze Chevrolet of John Force, who is desperately looking to kind of get that haven't won this year monkey off his back. And Robert Hight hoping to just kind of keep the momentum going. Bodies up and down. Danny Hood makes the last adjustment on John's car. Jimmy Prock does it on Robert's car. Can anybody knock Matt Hagan out of the number one spot here? Well, they got further down there. 438 for Robert, 444 for John, but not enough to take the 3 points away from Hagan. So after what I think can only be termed as a interesting qualifying and learning situation, Matt Hagan with his new look wide-body Dodge Hellcat is going to get 3 points. And oh, maybe even more importantly, Matt Hagan earned the right to be last tonight with that performance. Watching it again, I thought we were going to get two of them flames up to the lights. Cylinder out for Robert there, and John shuts off pretty close as well. So let's take a look at where the top 8 stand up. Nobody making a full pull to the finish line. All part of the learning curve when you come to Denver. J.R. Todd in the number 8 spot. Tim Wilkerson sits number 7. Bob Task is 6, and Ron Capps is number 5. 4 is Sean Langdon. 3 is John Force. 2 is Robert Hyde. And how about Matt Hagan with the brand new wide-body Dodge? I know it's not the number they wanted, but they'll take the number 1 spot. They'll take last tonight. They'll take 3 points. I would too. Let's go back down to Joe Costello, who's hanging out with the VIP. Not quite as VIP as the last VIP, but he's not.